Okay, so identity is subject in relation to something. I am is right here in the center of you, but then it's also already vast ocean of consciousness and all the energies that show up as bananas and ice cream and like everything else. So it's you, it's already. And there's only now, you know about, they say it's only now. So there's only already in the most beautiful relation. It doesn't matter if you see it in the physical or not. Already in the now, you are that, in relationship with that. You are the container, the higher self that contains subject, relationship, object. So you can be the subject experiencing relationship with the object or somebody else, but you are the container of that. And for that, it's a permission slip. You need to move your perspective to that which encloses me talking to you as two separate individuals. You expand the perspective and you see that you are awareness, field of awareness that contains both my puppet and your puppet, and it's just having a conversation with itself. So where are your problems now? The problems might be still in your energetic memory foam that's holding intentions and identities that still hold this energetic their intention. They still want to get something. Hey guys, so we're going to troubleshoot the root cause of all of your problems or deficiencies. And with that being said, we're going to go even beyond the root cause of any problems and deficiencies that you might be experiencing in your life. And with that said, it's a pretty big claim, okay? So, yeah, I'm trying with this video to also move your awareness away from the projection of your surface external life, any perceived dynamic problem dynamics that you might have in the external life that is you as a subject relating to your people, to your family, to your money, to your maybe concepts that are even involving only yourself, but in relationship to your health or your happiness. So, okay, now to do this, we're gonna go and dive deep. And with this, I am also trying to, well, I'll have to paint some pictures and create some constructs or subtitle some constructs that exist in the human experience and collective human experience in the moment. So I'm going to be a little bit elaborate. However, I promise that by the end of this video, I'm going to pinpoint the method that's going to be really simple for you. Okay? So even if I gave you the magic wand and you could poof your problems away, that would sound too good to be true and even unrealistic and even just like to your sense of thinking, to where you are perceiving, creating the problems from. Yeah. So let's start by saying that if there is a method or a magic wand or a button that you can push, they can reverberate your reality into crystal, perfection, enjoyment, trinity, non-duality, effortlessness, whatever that might be. We can call it many names, but the first issue would come from us not perceiving correctly that you are God. Okay, so that's number one. And that's number one way to explain it. This is not yet the troubleshoot, okay? And so some people, how this goes in the human experience, collective experience, thus far, we sometimes have the glimpse of that you are this infinite, absoluteness, universe, source. And if we have a glimpse of that, it's usually that something stretches the bandwidth, okay? So it can be a few things. If you're not accessing this by default, like you have a stable state of, let's call it enlightenment, even though it's not a thing, like enlightenment sounds like something out there, it's a state of you perceiving the actuality of things, is just a perspective of awareness, okay? So if you know how to maintain this perspective of awareness, then I would call that like stable self-recognition, or the recognition of reality as what it is, yes? And like usually we come into a world that is a playground that is full of distortion. So it's not a harmonious world. And in that experience, the dynamics of disharmony they project onto our mental bodies, or we impress onto our mental bodies many ideas and concepts that are actually disharmonious with what reality is. So we are living in a assumed, okay, impression of distortion through which our awareness is like caught up in that, and then we experience problems. And then we live day by day from this imperfect state, and even like it's not a big deal, okay, because over and over again, like I am brought into, like through my life, as in like whatever, like I'm an individual, but I'm the fractal of this wholeness, so I'm not even individual, but let's say that fractal is dancing, yeah, and then what I experience as an individual through that dance is coming into collision with symmetry and everything being perfect, and then moving out of that and dancing with the collective, and then just getting confused again and again. And in this experience, usually it is some either broadening of the bandwidth. So let's say you smoke pot, or you take some mushrooms, and then the bandwidth broadens, and all of a sudden you come into coherence with the octaves and what you call higher self or the God mind, and your physical reality or human reality comes into coherence with that, and it's just like cool. But you're under the influence of and something that activates that. When you return to normal state, things might feel crappy again, okay? And the other thing is you might have an insight, because either just by looking at nature or something else that expands your field of perception, your presence as consciousness, you connect to something behind the scenery, behind the appearance of the physicality, and you can sense yourself as that. And that might be just a feeling that you might not even register cognitively, or like give it a linguistic nomenclature, like I had a satori, I had a insight, I had a expansion. It might just come and go. And then you might be going down the spiritual route, and you might be meeting somebody who already developed self-recognition, so they would be called a teacher or a master. However, they are able to zoom you in. They're able to shift your perspective into that of the I am. And then in their presence, it's not like talking to your everyday friends who are really just talking from some condensed bandwidth of reality, because you meet a person who can take you behind the scene of reality, take your perspective of consciousness, where they're already opened the door, where they can look from beyond, and then conversationally or even just staring at you, they can move where you're looking from to that beyond, and then you're like, oh my days, like Ramana Maharishi. Like, oh my God. Okay, so, but these are all temporary insights, right? So what we are discussing here is first the method to come into the space of self-recognition, direct self-recognition as I am. It's called I am nowadays. We call it I am. However, it probably just feels like when you say me, like me. And what do you feel and what do you mean when you say me? So funnily, this what you say me is point of collapse of these all reality structures into your me and my me and everybody else's me being always here in absolute. And right then here, like beyond the walls of my room, the talking head is the source, everything. Source is right here everywhere. However, through the dimensional construct, you are source, and you're, talking in camera, I'm talking to camera, or you're eating an ice cream, or you're going hiking. So you're doing many fun things, yeah? And then because reality is dimensional construct of nested sets, you have these different doors or portals or gateways where you can find, literally in your apartment, there's a door and there's a window, and it is so with your body, you have the eyes and you have the ears, and you have other portals on a more subtle level inside of your body where you can access gateways that actually will lead your consciousness into the multiverse, yeah? Just to mention, literally, you can go and take the elevator inside of your head, down into your heart, and then this will like open portals and you will go inside of different realities from your body. This is meditation or yoga that is mastering the invisible game. If you don't spend many time dwelling in the inner space, you will not find it, or if you're not instructed by somebody who already took that route. It's same like using Google Maps to find a restaurant, or being recommended a restaurant, right? Somebody recommend you a good restaurant to eat, that's a permission slip. If somebody tell you, how you can open the doors inside of yourself that you never actually stumbled upon, you will get a recommendation and a map. It's called a permission slip. So your me is the solution to all of your apparent problems that you might have in the reality experience of you being an individual inside of a room, eating an ice cream or doing whatever you're doing, making a business, you maybe having a partner, maybe having a child, maybe not understanding how something works, maybe you're just playing with Lego. Okay. However, if this is just a story that's being told and you're receiving this information and you even remember or write down the information, this sometimes I have clients and they start to take notes and I'm like, there's no need to take notes on this that I'm saying, right? So if you by any chance taking notes, you're fooling yourself because you have the impression of the ego that's thinking, I don't know something. And this is congruent because I just said, if you don't know where the doors are, then you need to permission slip. However, permission slip is just a remembrance because of course you know where all the portals and secret doors are and secret keys, because if they're ever not in your sight, they're just hidden from your sight. Whatever dimensional construct is hiding these keys and doors from your sight, well, you are everything and you are the keys and you are the doors and you are whatever is making them not appear. Let's repeat this. You are everything. So you are the solution. The problem is not existent and you need the right perspective to go there and see from that perspective that the whole construct of your identity being in a problem, something unresolvable, right? If you're perpetuating from the identity, your ego says, I don't know this, let me take notes. That's not you. That's a projected identity where you believe you don't know something, you have to learn, you have to take notes. So I'm here to remind you that what I'm saying, you don't need to take notes. You need to follow my instruction to go in a deeper place, a doorway of your perspective, okay? Doors of perception. You can effortlessly move your awareness. And so the things I say are not for your ego to remember or write down. They are for your perspective of awareness to start to move and dance, because I'm taking it to the places where the doors are already open, where you move your awareness, your point of view in that dimension, and you will see a different landscape, different reality landscape, or you will see how something works, or you will see why something didn't work. And there are many, 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 many permission slips for you to enter these perspectives. I like talking to you guys because we are converging, not in a 3D, but we are converging on the internet, but we're also converging on a sixth dimension beyond what is the construct of time on this level. We are sitting together right now. This is a joint field where the consciousness looking through the eyes of me, looking through the eyes of you guys, is converging with itself. And in the now moment, in the sixth dimension and beyond, we are there. Yeah? Everyone. Okay? So later you might be, or later, in the construct of time, you might be watching this today or tomorrow or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Your higher self is always here, always now. All right, let's see what's here then. So yeah, let's define a problem. Let's define a problem, let's define a pain point, first of all, you created an identity that is separate from what you call me. Well, so in the circumference of what you call me, you may have an idea, a personality, an identity. Identity is an idea of who you are in relation to something. Okay, when you're just me, there's no identity because there's nothing other than me. There's only me. Me is infinite singularity. Okay, now this infinite singularity is experiencing itself as the world and people inside the world. So there's multitudes of individualities, and everybody is played by me. Okay, I, like what you call this Jovan, or I call this Jovan, or we can call this guy or somebody. It's played by the me inside of you. I am played by me inside of you. That me inside of you is playing this also. So it's the same me all the time. And when not expressed as YouTube thumbnails with people doing faces like, and then headlines, this one thing solves all problems. You have to click. So when me is not being expressed as many talking heads in many YouTube videos or many people in many cafes, in many restaurants, it's just in a state of singularity. And then the me can come into expression of individualities, and it can coincide with the world and the others seeing correctly, not through distortion. What does that mean? It means that me, or I am inside of you, and you may say, I am an artist, I am a lover, I am whatever, right? In relationship to this, something that I'm loving, something that I'm creating as artwork, something. So, or, yeah. And there will be a fluidity, okay, of subject, relationship, object. And there will be also unbroken loop that is one of feel light and playful. Whatever you're playing with, whoever you're playing with, feels light and playful. And then you may offset the identity from me, so it goes into circumference, like exits the feeling that, and create an impression, an assumption that you are someone. And for example, this is a big one. I can't do that. I can't find that. Let me take notes because I will not remember that. All of this is not you. All of this is like a projection that is delusional to your authentic self. You see what I mean? So any kind of then disempowerment or assumption where you have a problem, you keeping this in your projected, let's say, persona, yeah? But it's a memory foam of these projections. But we can so often be just going there, identifying with the narrative, with the subtitle of what is held there, but it's a phantom. Like, it's not you. That's not you. However, it happens for humans that we project awareness into these circumferences, and we are looping those. And we project our awareness onto external reality circumstances. And now these identities that live off-center from the I am, they start to have relationships with the outside world. They're dysfunctional, very disappointing, and they just loop in trauma or kind of like... And so we are detached from the core, and therefore in a distortion, the awareness is still projected. The awareness is coming from the I am, but it's caught up here and it's being projected here in the circumference of the external world and imaginary identities. So I'm just telling you right now that I am does not have actually a problem. The I am does not even exist in time and this binary like subject, relationship, object. The I am plays out the subject, relationship, object, and then becomes in a state of itself in a childlike like forgetfulness of whatever. So it does not have perpetual needs. It is so actually like self-fulfilled that it just feels super nice and does not need to worry about boyfriend, girlfriend, money, status, fame, power, or lack of all of those. Yeah? That's like super not like, and the I am can become, look at me, I'm famous. And then also like lose that fame and just stay same. And it can become, look at me, look at me. I'm looking at me and I'm like, I'm so rich. I have so many things and shiny objects and monies, and I can lose all that and I don't change. So it's not the problem. It's like you never have a problem. Okay? So now that we are actually, when we subtitle that, what to do with the memory foam, where the presumptions and assumptions of the problems that we might be perpetuating, they might be actually taking our projected awareness away from the I am into some kind of weird distortion identity narratives. What to do about those? How to actually, let's say, is it possible to dissolve them? Oh, wow, this is going to be good. Oh my God. So we're going to, this is a portal that I haven't even expected. This is the door. This is the permission slip that, I wasn't tapping into this perspective. Okay, I'm glad actually that I'm also guiding myself into this one, because here's what's up. I'm also defragmenting a lot of like false ideas that come with being human. I'm defragmenting some blind spots that occurred in the role play of life, in relationships, and I decided, to come in this unperfected state, because honestly, when you come from the I am and you're in this perfected state of self-fulfillment, there's no also need, you just want to play like a kid. There's no need to do stuff, yeah? So I was like, while I'm witnessing the integration work, the healing work, let me also bring the guidance forward, just subtitle what's happening. However, beginning of this video, I haven't even realized what I'm about to say to you now. There is also the way to effortlessly, momentarily dissolve your memory. The memory foam of problems. Like it could be like a sand, like something made of sand that just goes like whoosh. Your mental body, your emotional body, the structure of the problem, even the physical body, kind of like having an ailment or something like this, it can go like whoosh, reverberate. But you need to enter one perspective and give permission. So the perspective, when you enter the perspective of me, let me also reference that as 0 point, because if you are familiar with my channel, this is how I used to many times like guide the perspective into the 0 point. So yeah, and this is like this my memory melting away when you start to yawn. It's being like just all the identity stuff, dream identity stuff, incomplete juxtapositions of subject to object, subject desire object, or some frustrations with like interpersonal or subject relating to object frustration, incomplete business, whatever, it can dissolve. However, it will be like this. If you're not doing this, if you've never done this before, you will feel free and you will have no identities left. And some relationships like friendships or family or even children that you have and parents that you have and like the closest people that you have, all the illusion may be just deleted from your memory foam. And you may find yourself in a radiant emanation of light where you're just divine child without necessarily being someone and holding this like name, last name, tribe, nation, job. All of this might just like dissolve for you. So when they dissolve, I'm not saying that you're not gonna get into something and be creative and do things again and like say meet somebody and tell them your name or whatever. I'm just saying that there's gonna be a way more fluid way for you to become and express yourself in someone, and then also let go of any idea of who you are and just be there as the I am. So where the problems perpetuate is because we want to be someone, even if that's we have like these identities that are offsetted from the I am. They have claim to something, some kind of knowing, some kind of interest, some kind of truth. And if you don't want to give them up and have a complete ego death, then going to 0 point and like commanding all of them to dissolve, you're going to be, I'm advising you, okay? I'm going to advise you still how and why you should still do it, because it's not like I had a client for a year, they were suffering a lot. And from their identity, like, so on the I am level, there's no suffering. But from their imaginary identity, they were suffering, and then they were battling the world, and they were trying to be, they were mad about their suffering, and they were mad about whoever was the perpetrator of their suffering, and but they didn't want to give it up. They wanted to write a book about their suffering. They wanted to make a movie about their suffering. They wanted to punish the perpetrator. So it will be like that. I'm saying to this person, hey, would you give up this idea of yourself in turn to be healed momentarily? No, because I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this. So your pain body or your like traumatized identity or identity has a problem is going to start generating creative solutions. And then you don't want to give up, because who will you be without it? Just this presence of I amness, it's kind of like not so interesting to the mind. However, if you felt it, you would be like, yeah, it's better to be this because it's whole and complete and it just feels good. But in the mind, it does not make any sense, yeah? And so the mind will spin these identities, and therefore I'm going to create another level of instruction. If you can go into 0 point, the I amness, and you ask yourself, do I exist here as infinity, whole and complete right now? And you find out that the answer is yes. And then you ask, is it possible to actually reverberate, like let's say on a quantum level, on a sound level, reverberate this holographic reality sculpture that my individuality is perfectly attuned to the sense of already being liberated, complete, full, and in the knowing, in the feeling that I am everything, therefore, whatever you want to call it, God or whatever. And the me inside of you is going to tell you, yeah, like sure. There is no problem to the I am inside of you that needs to be perpetuated or cannot be solved, because it's actually, it's that cool. It's actually that cool. It's actually creating this whole reality structure that you're experiencing from the inside as you're speaking. It's actually manifesting, constructing an infinite, words cannot, like infinite multiverse you're projecting, and like through your power as that. So you're crazy cool, yeah. But then having these two perspectives of, you still perceive yourself as an individual having certain problems, certain things to troubleshoot that are giving you, maybe you're ready to give them all up, and you're like, F this. Because however many times you try to solve life, the more entangled you get. And you may have already found this out, and you're like, actually, I don't mind giving it all up. However, it might be persistence of these identities to fulfill something, and they have root causes, right? So even on the surface, so what is a root cause? Have you watched Scarface? When he says, Al Pacino in the role of Scarface, in this country, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. Brilliant. So these are the root causes, right? There's something your subconscious constructed from this assumption, okay, that was already misaligned from yourself. And the assumption you can't something, you don't have something, and then you are finding a strategy. And so every behavioral pattern, every motivation will have these structural layers of, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. And then you're going at it full on Scarface mode. But wouldn't it be true that if you take the perspective to the I am point, everything or anything that these identities in relationship to their desires, in tension with their goals, are actually looking for on a deeper level is completion. Okay, this is another permission slip. This is why you're actually able to have a complete ego structure fall apart, and all of the reasons that the ego and its root causes will give you, okay, but I can't stop now because I put so much energy, I put so much effort, and finally I will be seeking resolution, or I'm seeking compensation, or I'm seeking revenge, or I'm seeking love, or I'm seeking fame, or I'm seeking fortune, or and I put so much work into it. And as long as you are seeking, you will not find. You see the perpetual with the horses, that thing, carousel. The perpetuating carousel of delusions. But if you even then ask these root causes, like if you get the fame, if you get $1 billion, and if you get all the ice cream in the world, all the cookies in the world, all the love in the world, that you are worshipped as God, celebrated as the most famous rapper, sportist, artist, whatever the field, yeah, of your role playing is, like, and if all of that came to you, well, what then? And you finally would feel at rest, complete, and then relaxed in tension from, providing, strategizing, working towards your goal, and realizing, oh, okay, now that I got it, it's like empty of tension, so I don't feel any thing anymore, and everything that manifested for me feels now just like a new normal. It just feels not significant anymore. So you had to make up the tension of feeling like you not have it, you don't deserve it, something's not good enough, something is broken, to even have the motivation to strive for that thing. But the solution was that as long as you're imagining, assuming that you don't have it, you're going to strive and strive and strive, but you're never going to get it. So you only get it through surrender when you realize, okay, now that I have no more intention to even look for that, the I am inside of me contains that in itself. Like, the I am is the most famous in the world. There's nobody else. There's no Tupac, there's no Jesus, there's no like Lady Gaga, Mr. Gugu, Mr. Pee, all of that are costumes worn by Mr., Mrs. Have no identity in particular, but let's call it divine. Let's call it divine child. Let's call it infinite curiosity. Let's call it infinite creativity. Let's call it that, or it, or me, or the I am. So you're already world famous in all the worlds, in all the multiverses. You see the joke in that? I mean, if you're trying to, I don't know, be Instagram celebrity or something, YouTube celebrity. So you are ready. Yeah? Now, if you're trying to get like wealthy or rich or filthy rich, how about there's no person here that's trying to do something? There's no person here that needs to do something or other to like achieve that, because it is the I am that is dreaming the entire freaking mandala. It is dreaming the entire freaking universe. And all the physical things and material riches already belong to you. And even if you were sitting and basking as the I am and the person never went to look for anything, whatever the I am would will into the playground would show up for you. Like if your person, if your physical imaginary doer, if your body avatar never moved your gorgeous cute ass from this chair where you're sitting, and you sat there basking in the I amness, it will be delivered. It will be delivered. The limousine with the chauffeur, okay, or like whatever. And this is funny because, yeah, I did try this, because when I was sitting in the I am and I wasn't like projecting any identities, because all of my identities completed their juxtaposed missions to get the objects of their desires or experience of their desire, and I was sitting as that, it was funny to how my mind lexicon is sort of conditioned to think about things as, you know, the world of objects that you can go in a 3D fashion, and you can like, I don't know, go from the tree to the car and then get in the car and go to the lake, and then on the lake you go and there's an ice cream shop and then you can get the ice cream there. How you sit as the I am and you're like thinking about the ice cream shows up, and it does not need to even be linear and physical and 3D. It can be whatever, like it can be rendering itself in front of you, or just being delivered by Uber. If you need it, if you need a linear consequence, then it can be Uber delivering your ice cream, but it can be Uber delivering your strippers, go-go dancers, or party people, or business opportunities, or like whatever, because there's nobody seeking it, because there's nobody assuming that there's someone and something is missing. Okay, so identity is subject in relation to something. I am is right here in the center of you, but then it's also already vast ocean of consciousness and all the energies that show up as bananas and ice cream and like everything else. So it's you, it's already. And there's only now, you know about, they say it's only now. So there's only already in the most beautiful relation. It doesn't matter if you see it in the physical or not. Already in the now, you are that, in relationship with that. You are the container, the higher self that contains subject, relationship, object. So you can be the subject experiencing relationship with the object or somebody else, but you are the container of that. And for that, it's a permission slip. You need to move your perspective to that which encloses me talking to you as two separate individuals. You expand the perspective and you see that you are awareness, field of awareness that contains both my puppet and your puppet, and it's just having a conversation with itself. So where are your problems now? The problems might be still in your energetic memory foam that's holding intentions and identities that still hold this energetic their intention. They still want to get something. Give yourself permission to say all the things that you want. Like, I want like a bunch of strippers twerking on this table and $1 million, like a rap video. And then I want a beautiful farm and a beautiful family and I want to be flying in the sky and I want to be going on a jet and I'm going to want to be diving in the sea with a scuba and I want this and I want that. And I want the cookies and I want to eat all the foods in the world. I want to travel everywhere. Now, wherever the identity was holding tension was because you're like, I'm saving this for later because I can't do it. However, here's the trick. If you say it like, I wanna, and you imagine it as if it was happening, like you're traveling the world with the strippers and the cookies and the ice cream and a jet plane, and there's this private jet, maybe one private jet, whatever, like in the helicopter and the so this is another permission slip. You can let go of identity intention and you can shoot it out into like 6-dimensional mental field, and the timeline will be produced and edited where when you're idling as the I am, you're just going to be invited. You're going to get invited in the video game of life. Somebody's going to come up and be like, permission slip, do you want to ride this jet plane with a bunch of sexy mamas and their cute little babies and toddlers? We're going to go to North Arizona or whatever, and we're going to eat all the cookies that they have there. And you can just say, sure, and there you go. So you see, the person is never the doer. It's your puppet that goes around acting in the mood, but it's not producing the movie. So it was never upon you as an individual to actually think that you can't do something because you have to already offset from the I am and believe that you are responsible for doing it. So that's one of the more original distortions. Like, the ego, it's me doing it. You're not now seeing the nature of reality, where it is the me, the I am, doing everything, dreaming the dream, and you're just the I am and just the consciousness, and the dream just happens. So when you're stuck in the intention that you can't, or you don't know, or you have to take notes because you don't remember something, you don't know something, this is not you. It's still your consciousness, it's still your mind, it's still your video game, but it's a slight delusion. Okay, like a dream within a dream. And so literally there's a container of this reality, and then you move inside of it, and now you're trapped inside of it. If you just expand yourself to the original container, everything was always good. You're there, no problem. Okay? But you can get sucked into it, and then you're in a closed loop of this subset, and like you don't know how to get out, and now you're processing, and now you're working, and now you're hustling, and now you're healing, and now you're trying to get enlightened, and all this stuff, and all of these identities and all of these egos, and they have blind spots because they're not looking from over here. And this is where somebody just comes who is also like walking in this multiplayer game of life, right? But they're seeing from that perspective. It's like, hey, why are you like caught up? And then you need to give permission to start looking from where they're talking. Okay, this is why this YouTube video is like for the liberation of the collective, my own liberation, as I'm also getting into blind spots. But we all are, because we're really being goofy inside of that. And the me, the I am, the higher self, is never going to forcefully like take you out of, or take its own awareness out of these projected identities. It's going to treat them as children. Okay, so the parent and the projected fractals, the children, is going to give it like, hey, experiment there, or you experiment there, or you go over there and see what's happening. So just when you're tired, you can come back to where you already are, the I am. However, if you want to go play the piano, you can do it from the I am in a very harmonious fashion. But if you lose the center, then these little fingers, they can be going, or identity projections, they can be going nuts. Where am I? I don't know, where am I? I'm trying to find a way out of here. I don't know, like, I'm caught up in the matrix. Oh, now I awaken spiritually, but now I'm caught up in the matrix, and these people are trying to control the matrix, and they're controlling us in the matrix. And it's like, hey, bro, look, no, I'm fighting the matrix. Okay, bro, when you're ready. Okay, I'm ready. So look, check it out. Here. And like, where? Here. Oh, who's there? Oh, it's me. Yeah. So when were you never Like whenever were you not there? Oh, I'm always here. Okay, okay, now we're synchronized, yeah? Okay, so now go and play something. Okay, so that's with your perspectives, literally. Oh my god, I have to do the nose again, so I hope that helps. And whoa, truth. They say it's the truth. Oh yeah. So then, if you are like, but some of my intentions are still stuck, Jovan, and I can't seem to get out of the mate or like whatever, then you may also just check out my offer, and I have like a session and a mentorship, so we can sit and like we can do it together. Might be just something where you also have this perspective. Sometimes you need to re-anchor yourself until your delusions dissipate completely. And yeah, if you want to jam together, I'm available. So I'll see you when I see you, and you have a great time in, well, reverberating the F out of your delusions and then being playful as the God that you are.